The owner of the hand was Zhu Qiwu, who pulled Lin Moyu out of the teleportation array. He stared at Lin Moyu, and asked in a deep voice, "What are you looking for with He Renqing?" Lin Moyu was not surprised. He knew that He Renqing would be monitored for a long time in the future. The monitoring is naturally done by Renwang Network. Renwang Network also knew about the meeting between him and He Renqing just now, and it was not surprising that Yi Qiwu knew about it. Lin Moyu explained his purpose for meeting He Renqing. He didn't hide anything, because doing so was in line with his own heart. For any strong person, in the process of cultivation, what he experiences and what he does must conform to his original heart. Only in this way can the thoughts be clear, can we truly become awake. Whatever Lin Moyu thinks, he will do it, there is no problem. Zhu Qiwu understood the truth, so he didn't say Lin Moyu. The same thing, different positions and different angles, will have different interpretations. He can't say that Lin Moyu's thinking is wrong, and the actions of the top leaders of the human race are also right. Lin Moyu asked, "Senior, did you come here specially for this matter?" Zhu Qiwu said in a low voice, "The old man happens to be here, and there are still some things to deal with." Lin Moyu snorted, but didn't ask further. "If it's all right, then this junior will go to perform the mission on the battlefield." Zhu Qiwu hummed, and suddenly asked, "You said your law can heal the soul?" Lin Moyu nodded. "It's possible, but the effect is unknown. This time I'm just trying." Zhu Qiwu was thoughtful, waved his hand after pondering for a few seconds. "Go and do the task." Seeing Zhu Qiwu's appearance, Lin Moyu must have something to do, so he took the initiative to speak. "If there is anything juniors can do, just say it." In the light of the teleportation array, Lin Yu left the county doctor. Zhu Qiwu thought about it, and said to himself, "Would you like to try it?" After thinking for a long time, he still made a decision. No matter what, it's okay to procrastinate, you have to try. At the outpost base in number 7 to 10 area, Lin Moyu came out of the base teleportation array, replaced it with the King of War Tower, and flew away in the form of a streamer. The outpost is still billions of kilometers away from areas 7 to 10, and even with the Battle King Tower, it will take half a day to fly. In the battlefield, every area has its special features. Most of them can produce various valuable materials. There are still a small number of powerful laws in the area, and the laws are very obvious and easy for people to comprehend. That kind of place has become a holy place for cultivation, which is not much better than the sea of laws of the human race. Moreover, Law C requires a lot of points, but here, there is no need for many points. It's just that the danger is relatively high, so we should pay attention to the sneak attacks of various ethnic groups. The material output area and law area accounted for more than 90%. In addition, there are a few more special mysterious areas. Those mysterious areas are even more bizarre. The most famous is the various mysteries that appear when the rules of chaos occur. Area 7 to 10 where Lin Moyu is going this time is a mysterious area. According to the data, before 10,000 years ago, the area 7 to 10 was also a material production area. A material called death water is produced in this area, which contains the law of death. Then came the chaos rules, and with it came an ancient tomb. Ancient tombs have not disappeared, and rashes have always existed. Therefore, after the area 7 to 10, in addition to the water of death, there is another place that can be explored. After thousands of years of exploration, people have learned a lot about ancient tombs, and obtained many magic weapons from ancient tombs. Yes, it is a magic weapon that contains the law of death, a powerful magic weapon. For a long period of time, many explorers came to the ancient tombs, and there was an endless stream. The exploration is getting deeper and deeper, until the King of Gods disappears inside. Only then did people realize that ancient tombs are not safe, and there are dangers inside. At the same time, the magic weapon has almost been discovered by people, and it is difficult to find it. After that, the number of talented people coming to the ancient tomb gradually decreased. Later, news spread that someone saw the coffin of the ancient strong man in the deepest part of the ancient tomb, and attracted a group of people, but they still found nothing. There is an important reason why Lin Moyu chose this task this time. He was very curious about the chaotic rules during the last trip to the chaotic rules. The skeleton in the manor, the throne that is almost the same as the skeleton throne, and various information left over from that time, old tree fungus vines. All of them attract him to explore further. According to the data, the ancient tomb is full of death breath, which seems to be somewhat similar to his law of immortality. The magic weapons that have been discovered are also made of white bones. Just looking at the information, Lin Moyu decided to come and find out. Since the appearance of the chaotic rules, Lin Moyu has been very curious about things in ancient times after a visit to the manor. He longed to find out what happened in ancient times, and wanted to know what happened back then. After that, he took some time to check various information on Renwang's network. But there is no information about the ancient times, and nothing can be found. It seems normal, but it is actually even more abnormal. How could there be no information in the ancient times, and now nothing can be found, either because his authority is insufficient, or it was deliberately hidden? In thinking, the Tower of the King of War seems to have passed through a thin film and entered another world. The breath filled with the law of death got into the Tower of the King of War. Lin Moyu felt it carefully, and murmured, "It's the pure law of death. It is the real law of death, not the breath of death that I have experienced in the manor. There is an essential difference between the two. The breath of death in the manor is the breath of the dead. Just like his skeleton, the skeleton is dead and comes back to life after death. Its essence is somewhat similar to the law of undead, and skeletons are also called undead creatures. And the law of death is the kind of law that completely obliterates vitality and makes people kill people. The two look alike, but are actually different. Lin Moyu, who has dealt with the law of immortality all day long, is very clear about this and can't make a mistake. The Battle King Tower continued to fly towards the center of the area without slowing down at all. After flying another tens of billions of kilometers, the Tower of the King of War suddenly stopped. Intense law fluctuations came from ahead, and someone was fighting. The warning beads on the waist flashed brightly, sending out a warning. Both sides of the battle, at least one of them is the enemy, and may both be the enemy. What to do when encountering an enemy race on the battlefield? There is only one result for all races, and that is to kill. Unless you can't beat it, you must get rid of it. Lin Moyu put away the Battle King Tower, lost his breath and flew away quickly. The law of immortality moved slightly, and the breath of death enveloped the whole body. In the eyes of outsiders, the breath of death is no different from the law of death here. When Lin Moyu first came to the big world, even Renwang network was mistaken, let alone other people. The law of death has become Lin Moyu's best protection umbrella, giving Lin Moyu a hidden ability comparable to that of the Shadow Clan. Soon, Lin Moyu saw both sides of the battle. The two god kings are the Demon Clan and the Golden Eagle Clan. Not far from them was a black water polo 10 meters in diameter. The black water polo exudes a metallic luster on the surface, reflecting the surrounding starry sky. The interior contains even more intense laws of death. Fang Shuang, the Demon Clan and the Golden Eagle Clan, fought for a share of the Water of Death. It is very common that the Water of Death is produced in areas 7 to 10, but the amount of Water of Death is not abundant. This also leads to the high value of the Water of Death. If it is discovered by many people at the same time, there will inevitably be some competition. The law of death is contained in the Water of Death, which has many uses. The most common is to comprehend the law of death. The law of death is one of the most powerful laws in the second echelon. If you can comprehend it, you can greatly improve your strength. The second use is that the water of death can be used to refine poison. As long as there is enough water of death and some other highly toxic substances are added, the refined poison can kill even gods. The third use is to fuse with the law of extreme poison to refine an extremely vicious magic weapon with powerful lethality. In addition, the water of death has many other uses, but no matter what kind, it is enough to reflect its value. The Demon Clan and the Golden Eagle Clan fought fiercely, and Jinping fought to the death. Both sides want to resolve the battle as soon as possible, and if the time drags on for a long time, it will be detrimental to both sides, and it may cause other people. The laws collided fiercely in Starry Sky 16, and both sides tried their best. The Golden Eagle tribe is good at speed. Its whole body is golden, its feathers are like sharp swords, and it carries the sharpness of the golden law, leaving afterimages in the starry sky, as if it wants to cut the starry sky. The demon clan he was fighting against was the Vajra demon from hell. The whole body is also shining with golden light, and it is extremely hard, allowing the attacks of the Golden Eagle tribe to fall on the body without fear. It's just that his speed is too slow, and there is nothing he can do about the Golden Eagle clansmen. Lin Moyu hid in the void with the aura of death, and was about to kill the two of them, when he suddenly looked to the other side, smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth, and retracted the hand he had just raised. He noticed that on the other side, there was someone hiding. The snipe and the clam were fighting, and the man obviously wanted to reap the benefits of the fisherman. And Lin Moyu is the praying mantis catching the cicada and the oriole. Lin Moyu's soul is too sensitive, and it is difficult for ordinary people to hide his body in front of him. Even if the shadow people approach him, they may be sensed by him. Silently, a very thin mist appeared in the starry sky, and zero chi enveloped it silently, colorlessly and odorlessly. The demon tribe and the golden eagle tribe who were fighting did not notice the existence of the mist. The mist ignored their laws and invaded their bodies silently. The mist also found Lin Moyu, and also invaded Lin Moyu's body. With a slight movement of the law of immortality, the power of death instantly wiped out all the mist that entered the body. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth raised slightly, and he already roughly guessed which race was hiding in the dark. In addition to the law of death, there is also the law of poison in the fog. The two laws can be integrated so perfectly, apart from the poison gods, there should be no one else. The poison god clan is not a strong clan. Their status is very similar to that of the shadow clan. It's not because they are not strong individually, on the contrary, there are many strong people in their clan. But because the overall number of personnel is too scarce, it cannot be included in the category of strong clan. The individual combat power of the Poison God clan is very strong, and their methods are concealed and insidious, and they can often kill people invisible. They are born with the talent of highly poisonous laws, and at the same time they are good at fusing other laws with highly poisonous laws to create more lethal and more terrifying poisonous laws. A poisonous mist that combines the law of death and the law of guidance. Lin Moyu knew that the demons and golden eagles in front of him were over. Both of them are only the first rank of the God King, and they cannot stop the poison of the Poison God clan. Sure enough, after only 10 seconds, the two people who were fighting with all their strength suddenly stopped. The eyes of the two changed drastically at the same time, and their eyes searched around. Without saying a word, the members of the Golden Eagle tribe turned around and wanted to escape. The Vajra demon also gave up the entanglement with the Golden Eagle tribe and flew towards the other side. At this time, the space was suddenly locked, because some of the transmission devices lost their function. Thick fog was born out of thin air, covering a large starry sky. The Golden Eagle tribe was so fast that he rushed into the thick fog, but only a second later, he flew back from the thick fog. At this time, his golden light was dim, many places on his body were corroded, his feathers lost their luster, and even melted, exposing flesh and blood. The flesh and blood were also emitting black air, and the black air was still corroding more flesh and blood, and his appearance was extremely miserable. The dense fog contained an astonishingly poisonous substance, and he almost died in it after entering it for only a second. Vajra demon's speed was slightly slower. Seeing the appearance of the Golden Eagle clansman, he immediately retreated, with fear in his eyes. He did not dare to touch the poisonous fog. The members of the Golden Eagle clan took the elixir, and the injuries were a little better, but the elixir can only prevent the further spread of the poison, but it can't really get rid of the poison. He said coldly, "Poison God clan, do you want to start a war with my Golden Eagle clan? Let me go quickly, I promise not to compete with you for the water of death." The voice of the Poison God tribe came from the dense fog. "Tsk tsk tsk, death is imminent, your mouth is still hard. Don't worry, in this king's thick fog of death, you will disappear in a short while, leaving nothing behind. You, the Golden Eagle clan, will not know who killed you." The face of the Golden Eagle clansman was ugly. He knew the other party was telling the truth. The Vajra demon didn't say anything. He took out a magic stone and crushed it, and the magic stone burst into flames that shot into the sky. The emerald green flames of the abyss were blazing, trying to burn out the dense fog. The flame collided with the dense fog, making a roar. The dense fog surrounded the flames as if they were alive, and gradually the flames of the abyss began to extinguish. It's useless, the fire of the abyss at the level of a god king can't destroy the thick fog of death of this king. In the mist, the voices of the Poison God clansmen sounded again. Vajra demon tried a few more times, but to no avail. He finally said coldly, "Damn from the Poison God clan, you destroyed this deity's avatar, and this deity remembers you." The shrinking fog of death suddenly stopped, and this Vajra demon turned out to be the avatar of the god. Poisoning the god venerable clone, this deal seems to be a bit of a loss. Lin Moyu heard it in his ears, saw it in his eyes, and shook his head slightly. He could see that the Vajra demon was the main body, not a clone. He was bluffing. The Poison God clan did not notice, and after a few seconds, the Poison God clan chose to give up. You can go, but you must swear that you will not trouble me in the future. He came to trouble himself with the god Venerable, and decided to let the Vajra demon go. Okay. Vajra demon did not refuse, but directly agreed. At this time, several streams of sword energy suddenly tore through the dense fog, and instantly swallowed the Vajra demon. The Vajra demon was torn into pieces by the sword chi, and its strong defensive power was not worth mentioning in front of the sword chi. Who? The Poison God clansman screamed in surprise, but he didn't notice that there was still people hiding in the dark. He had already sensed when he released the weak poisonous gas before, and he was sure that there was no one around, so he dared to be so unscrupulous. He is very confident in his detection methods, and believes that even the shadow clansmen who are best at hiding their bodies cannot hide their bodies in their poisonous gas. If it is elsewhere, perhaps it is true. But here is full of the laws of death, and with the help of the laws of death, Lin Moyu has a more terrifying hidden ability than the shadow clan. The dense fog rolled, and Lin Moyu appeared in the fog. He slowly walked through the fog, came to the body of Vajra demon, and found the magic weapon for storage. He said softly, I originally wanted to be a squirrel, but you are too stupid to be deceived. Human race. The Golden Eagle clan and the Poison God clan hidden in the thick fog spoke in unison. There is some disbelief in the words, how could it be a human race? When did the human race become less afraid of poison? In the information of each race, every aspect of the human race is very balanced, and there is no outstanding point. But why this mediocre human race in front of me is not afraid of poison? And the sword light just now instantly killed the Vajra demon. This made the Golden Eagle people vigilant. At this time, the members of the Golden Eagle tribe suddenly trembled, and the Emperor's black blood spewed out from their mouths. The black blood exuded a stench, the golden light on his body became even dimmer, and the wound also smelled of stench. The poison broke out, and the eyes of the Golden Eagle clansmen dimmed, knowing that they would die today. Lin Moyu sighed softly, I'll give you a ride, no matter what, you have a share of military merit, so don't let it go to waste. A skeleton general appeared beside Lin Moyu, with a pure white sword spirit. The moment before being swallowed by the sword energy, there seemed to be relief in the eyes of the Golden Eagle clansman. What about the God King realm? Every step in the big world is dangerous, even if you reach the God King realm, if you make a wrong step, you will still die. Seeing the thick fog, Lin Moyu said, it's your turn next, whether you come out by yourself or I ask you to come out. The dense fog rolled, and the poisonous god clansman hiding in it made a cold voice, do you think you can definitely kill me? Lin Moyu whispered, you can look outside. Outside. A large number of skeleton generals stood densely in the starry sky. Not only does it exist outside the dense fog of death, but it also exists inside the dense fog of death. Like Lin Moyu, the skeleton god will not be afraid of these poisons at all. Surrounded by white light on their bodies, General Lich was tirelessly treating them. Even if the skeleton god stays in the thick fog of death for a whole year, nothing will happen. The skeleton god will be very strong. The Poison God tribe has seen it with their own eyes just now, and killed the King Kong Yang and the Golden Eagle tribe at will. If you match yourself, the ending is probably similar. The strength of the Poison God clan lies in its concealment and its extreme poison, rather than its frontal combat power. The Poison God clan was subdued, how can you let me go? Lin Moyu chuckled, you Poison God clan also participated in the Great War tens of thousands of years ago. I remember that there were 13 galaxies of life in the Suzaku star field, and hundreds of billions of people were poisoned and killed by you. Quote, the dense fog rolled more violently, and the Poison God clansman said coldly, we have paid the price afterwards. Afterwards, Xiao Zhangshan did break into the ancestral land of the Poison God clan, and wiped out at least 2/3 of the Poison God clan, causing them to almost exterminate the clan. Later, although the Poison God clan survived, their personnel decreased sharply, and they fell out of the ranks of the strong clan in one fell swoop. Tens of thousands of years have passed, and it still hasn't slowed down. Lin Moyu continued, although I don't know why Xiao Zhangshan gave up and let you live. However, our two clans are deadly enemies, so it's okay. The Poison God clan stopped talking, and he remained silent. Lin Moyu snapped his fingers, in that case, how can you expect me to let you go? In an instant, countless sword chi erupted at the same time, and the pure white sword chi tore through the thick fog of death, revealing the figures of the Poison God clansmen hiding in the thick fog. His whole body was also shrouded in dense fog, and he dodged the sword energy attack in embarrassment. But in the face of dense sword energy, his dodge was useless. In order to prevent the Vajra demon and the golden eagles from escaping, he personally locked the starry sky and blocked the teleportation equipment. Now, this move has become his own reminder. The sword energy shredded his dense fog and tore his body apart. In the dense fog, the appearance of the poison god clansman was revealed. Slender body, 2 legs and 6 hands, looks very strange. Change the angle, or let him lie down, it looks a bit like a spider. The sword chi cut off his limbs and split his body. Black blood flowed out, exuding a sour smell. People of the poison god clan are born with poison, and their whole body is full of poison. Finishing him off easily, Lin Moyu popped out an undead flame from his fingers. The undead flames exploded and landed on the minced flesh of the 3 corpses. In the raging flames, the 3 corpses were reborn with flesh and blood, and their souls were reorganized. In a blink of an eye, they had become resurrected, prostrate in front of Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu looked at the resurrection of the poison god clan. Is there any restriction in your soul? The poison god clansman answered honestly, yes. Sure enough, in fact, he didn't need to ask at all. For many races, restrictions will be planted in the soul to prevent some secrets from being prying. The human race is okay, they never impose restrictions. After all, they are strong races, and the God King realm doesn't have access to too many secrets. This is true of the Golden Eagle clan and the Demon clan. They have a vast star field and are not afraid of prying eyes from other clans. But the Poison God clan can't. Maybe they used to be the same as the human clan, but they can't do it now. Where is their ancestral land? This is the biggest secret. If other races found out, they might be beaten up the next day. There are many enemies of the Poison God clan, and there are many races that want to destroy them. Lin Moyu didn't hold out hope either, and asked in a deep voice, tell me everything you can about the Poison God clan. Yes. He immediately started to tell that, as the God King of the Poison God clan, he didn't know too many secret things, but he still knew a lot of general things. The Poison God race is now shrunk in a mysterious area, never interacting with other races, and resting and recuperating. The number of people in the clan has recovered to hundreds of millions, but he doesn't know the exact number. Among the various ethnic groups, this number is not too small, but it is still far behind the strong clan. Even in any galaxy of life in the human race, there may be billions of people living in it. It can be seen from his words that Xiao Zhangshan really beat them badly back then. And after Xiao Zhangshan, there were other races who also made a move, adding insult to injury. The members of the Poison God clan back then were not even 1 in 100 at the worst time. After listening, Lin Moyu wrote down the information and turned around to face the water of death. A force of soul stretched out, covering the water of death. Under the wrapping of soul force, the water of death gradually shrinks. From 10 meters in diameter, it finally became only the size of a fist, less than 10 centimeters. At this time, the water of death has changed from liquid to solid, like a metal ball that can be held in one's hand. Lin Moyu took out a jade box and put the water of death into it. With a move in his heart, the members of the Golden Eagle tribe came to his feet, became his mounts, and flew towards the ancient tomb together. There are countless races in the big world, and many races are famous for their speed. Many of these races are suitable for use as mounts. Zhao Nuozhao, the Golden Eagle clan, is one of them. Using an intelligent race as a mount has advantages that are incomparable with magic weapons. They themselves have combat effectiveness, are more flexible, and can actively avoid danger. Lin Moyu once used the Golden Eagle tribe as a mount, and since then, he has felt an advantage, and it is really much easier to use than the Battle King Tower. It is said that the best mount is the Dragon Clan, but the Dragon Clan. He thought of Antares, whom he hadn't seen for a long time, and thought it over. Ordinary dragons may not be able to see it themselves. If a dragon is used as a mount, Antares may be able to kill himself with a breath of dragon breath. Lin Moyu let go of distracting thoughts and stopped thinking about unrealistic possibilities. He still remembered that he had promised Antares that when Antares returned to the big world, he would accompany Antares to kill the Dragon Clan. If you want to kill the Dragon Clan, you need strong strength, otherwise, you will be sending food in the past. Lin Moyu felt that he had to go to the godly realm at least to see it. Gradually, a magnificent giant tomb appeared in sight. A strong breath of death was revealed in the ancient tomb. Lin Moyu has already sensed this breath when thousands of kilometers away. It is the real breath of death, different from the breath of the law of death, and closer to the power of death of the law of immortality. Ordinary people can't tell the difference between the two. Only Lin Moyu, who controls the law of immortality, can distinguish the two. Lin Moyu stood on the back of the golden eagles, quietly feeling the breath of death emanating from the grave. It is exactly the same as the breath of death in the mysterious manner, so it can be concluded that the two are from the same world. But Shenjuang Manor is like an independent world, or a projection of another world, and you can only feel it when you enter it. The ancient tombs, on the other hand, have already come to the big world, gradually merging with the big world. From the breath of death, Lin Moyu felt the law of death again. The law of death is a law belonging to the big world, which shows that the law of death is penetrating the ancient tomb. This infiltration is slow, but ongoing. Permeate, change, merge. Lin Moyu seemed to have realized something, as if he had caught something, but he didn't seem to realize anything. He clearly realized that it was because his level was not high enough. This change seems to involve the origin of the law, which is too far away from him. The ancient tomb gradually enlarged in sight, and now there are not many people coming to the ancient tomb, at least not many among the human race. If it were thousands of years ago, people would enter the ancient tombs to explore almost every day. If you can get a magic weapon from it, you can get amazing benefits. Later, the ancient tombs became dangerous, and almost all the magic weapons inside were taken away by people, and fewer people came here. People came to areas 7 to 10, mostly just for the water of death. The aura of the ancient tombs became more and more intense, and when there was still 100,000 kilometers away, the aura of the ancient tombs was overwhelming. It's like the waves of the ocean, beating on the body and soul in bursts. The soul world vibrates continuously under the impact of the death breath. If the soul has not reached the third rank, it is impossible to block the impact of the death breath. Under the continuous impact of the breath of death, the soul will quickly corrode and die. Continue to approach, and the ancient tomb becomes clearer in sight. This is a rectangular tomb, and the surface is made of black stones. At the entrance of the tomb, there is an entrance about 1,000 meters high, which is in the shape of a semicircular arch. On both sides of the entrance, there are two wordless stone tablets, on which are carved huge skull heads. The material of the stele is different from that of the tomb. It is white and exudes a luster like jade. Lin Moyu came to the tomb and reached out to touch the main body of the tomb. The black unknown stone is exactly the same as the castle in the mysterious manor, extremely strong. The stone tablets on both sides of the entrance, although of different colors and materials, are also extremely strong. Lin Moyu tried it. Even with all his strength, he couldn't leave a mark on it. Someone once tried to bring the two steels back, but no matter what they did, they couldn't succeed. At the entrance of the tomb as high as 1,000 meters, half of the broken gate was hung on the tomb, and the other half fell to the ground. Judging from the gap, it was cut by a strong man with a sharp weapon. The material of the gate is the same as that of the tomb, and it is also extremely strong. With Lin Moyu's ability, it is impossible to leave any traces on it. The half door that fell on the ground, although it has been destroyed, still cannot be taken away. The broken door with the ruined walls on the ground still seems to be connected with the whole tomb. A similar situation has been seen in the mysterious manor. Those stones that have been shattered are randomly scattered on the ground, but they cannot be taken away or moved. There is an invisible force that holds them firmly in place. It is conceivable how powerful the force that broke the door was back then. Lin Moyu felt that even a deity might not be capable of causing such damage. Looking carefully at the ancient tomb, apart from the skull on the stele and the broken gate, there is nothing else in the tomb. On the huge appearance, there is no extra carving decoration, which looks extremely simple. The whole exudes a vast atmosphere, as if from an ancient giant beast. In ancient times, no one knew what kind of strong man would be buried in such a tomb after death. But after thinking about it, even such a strong person will die one day. Longevity. How difficult, BGAF. The King of Gods and gods have a limit to their longevity, and there will be a time when the limit will come. Even the dragon with the longest lifespan will die one day. No one wants to die. The pursuit of invincible power, a higher state, is actually the pursuit of longevity in the true sense, or even eternal life. Find a place outside and mark the teleporter. In case of danger, you can return at any time. Go in. The Poison God tribe and Vajra demon first entered the ancient tomb, and Lin Moyu stepped on the Golden Eagle tribe and followed behind. Vajra Demon walked at the forefront, and the Poison God clan kept a distance of 1,000 meters from him. Lin Moyu was at the end, also keeping a 1-meter distance from the Poison God clan. Although the distance of 2,000 is not far, it can also leave enough reaction time for myself. In case of danger, let Vajra Demon take the lead. After entering the tomb, there is a long tomb passage. The light became dimmer and dimmer, and after walking hundreds of meters, the light disappeared completely, and the tomb passage became pitch black. Lin Moyu threw out a mass of undead flames, which floated in the air with a little light. The undead flames danced and cast long shadows. The sound of footsteps echoed in the long tomb passage, making the whole tomb even more eerie. For a strong person at Lin Moyu's level, it is impossible to be afraid of ghosts and ghosts. Ghosts and ghosts are nothing but souls or obsessions, which can be erased at will. Moreover, seeing things in the dark is only normal, and the line of sight will not be affected at all. It's just that it's weird here. When the tomb passage turned black, Lin Moyu found that his vision was really affected. Only then did the undead flames be used for face-to-face encounters. After walking 10,000 meters, the tomb path still hasn't reached the end. The entire tomb passage is straight, without any redundant forks. No matter where you go, it is the same picture, unchanged. Gradually, Lin Moyu felt something was wrong. Now the distance they have traveled has surpassed the distance of the tomb passage seen from the outside world. Unless the space array is used in the tomb passage, this effect can only be achieved by expanding the space. But obviously not in front of him. The space expanded by the formation is different from the normal space, and he can't hide it from himself. Lin Moyu realized that the first level of the tomb appeared. It is said in the data that after entering the tomb, you will encounter the first checkpoint to test your speed. Lin Moyu thought that there would be some mechanism, so he was ready to dodge at any time. But now it seems that it should not be. Deterred, and the Poison God tribe also stopped. In the next second, the Vajra Demon suddenly issued and ran forward quickly. Since it's not an institution, but also to test the speed, it really means literally. The Vajra Demon's speed became faster and faster, turning into an afterimage. Although the Diamond Demon is not good at speed, it cannot be compared with the Golden Eagle clan. But after all, he is a god king, so his speed is not slow. Under Lin Moyu's induction, the Vajra Demon flew away at a faster and faster speed. It seems to have reached a certain critical point, and suddenly he lost the induction of the Vajra Demon. Lost contact with Vajra Demon, and the connection between each other was broken. Lin Moyu's first reaction was that Vajra Demon was dead. But thinking about it, it didn't feel right. Even if the Vajra Demon was instantly killed, he could still feel the attack coming. But Vajra Demon disappeared very abruptly, without warning. Just when Lin Moyu was puzzled, the Vajra Demon suddenly appeared in the induction. Not dead. Vajra Demon did not die, but the connection with himself became very weak. It seems that they are not in the same time and space as each other. After thinking about it, I already knew what was going on. The next moment, the Poison God clansman started running wildly, and his 8 hands and feet turned into countless afterimages on the ground, leading him to rush forward quickly. His speed was much faster than Vajra Demon, reaching the critical point in a blink of an eye, and then disappeared like Vajra Demon. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry, and after waiting quietly for a few seconds, the Poison God tribe reappeared in the induction. He and Vajra Demon are in the same space, not far apart. It seems that as long as the speed is enough, you can pass this level. Lin Moyu gave the order, and the mount under his feet turned into a golden streamer, rushing forward quickly. The speed of the Golden Eagle clan is really fast, almost reaching the critical point in the blink of an eye. Boom! Like a bubble being punctured, the Golden Eagles turned into phantoms and dissipated before Lin Moyu's eyes, while Lin Moyu himself was knocked back hard as if he had hit an invisible wall of air. Lin Moyu fell to the ground, his body emitting a white light. The skeletons took the damage from the impact. Lin Moyu clearly felt that at the moment of impact, an invisible law invaded his body. It really doesn't leave any loopholes. Lin Moyu did not expect that the rules here are so strict that he cannot use the speed of the Golden Eagles to pass the level. It seems that I can only rely on myself. Although this level is not difficult, you must use your own experience. Only when one's own speed reaches the critical point can one pass the level. So just now the Golden Eagles passed the border, but Lin Moyu, who went north, was stopped by the rules. Lin Moyu stood up, took a deep breath, his legs suddenly exerted force, and his whole body shot forward like a sharp arrow. His speed is not slow, just the physical body of the peak of the true god is enough for him to pass this level. Lin Moyu's speed was getting faster and faster, reaching the spirit world point after a few seconds. The bubbles crashed before his eyes, and Lin Moyu felt that he had come to another world. The connection with the resurrected people in the soul became extremely clear, and their positions were easily sensed, not far away from him. With a slight movement of consciousness, the three resurrected people rushed over immediately. Lin Moyu looked at the space at the same time. From now on, it is considered to have truly entered the interior of the tomb. The interior of the tomb is not as dark as imagined, but brighter. All the light sources come from the white bones on the surrounding walls. These white bones are densely embedded on the wall, filling every gap. They are like night pearls, shining brightly, illuminating the entire tomb. This is a semicircular space with a very high top, at least about 1,000 meters long. From its appearance and the appearance of the ancient tomb seen by the outside world, Lin Moyu judged that he had walked through the long tomb passage and entered the interior of the tomb. Around it, there are 10 small and large stone gates, each of which is 500 meters high, with uniform size and specifications, and the stone gate materials are exactly the same, which is the black stone used for the main body of the tomb. The black stone gate and the glowing white bones formed a stark contrast. The gloomy feeling became more and more obvious, which made people feel weird. The 10 stone gates represent 10 directions, or 10 secret rooms. 7 of the stone gates have been opened, while the other 3 are closed. With Lin Moyu's ability, he has nothing to do with the closed stone gate. The stone gates are not opened just now. When the ancient tombs first appeared 10,000 years ago, these stone gates were already like this. For thousands of years, countless people have entered it to explore, and all the things that should be taken have been taken away. If it weren't for these stones that couldn't be taken away, they would have been emptied long ago. If there is anything good in the tomb, it is behind these 3 doors that are still closed. Have you ever come in? Lin Moyu looked at the 3 resurrected people. The 3 shook their heads, and the Golden Eagle clansman said, "It is recorded in our clan that the things here have been emptied, so there is no need to go in." The answers of the Poison God clan and Vajra demon were similar. The records that Lin Moyu saw were almost the same. According to the data, each secret room is a tomb, and there is a coffin inside. It should be the relatives of the owner of the tomb, who were buried together. But these coffins are all empty, and the people inside are nowhere to be found. Therefore, there is really no need to go in. Lin Moyu looked straight ahead, and there was a dark passage leading to the depths of the tomb. According to the mission information, after passing through this passage, there will be a dry fountain. In the fountain pool, there are a lot of stones scattered. These stones are infected by the law of death. As long as one is brought back, the mission is completed and rewards can be obtained. Ask for flowers. This task looks very easy, but it is not. If 10 people accept this task, less than half of them can complete it. The difficulty of completing the task lies in the second road in front of you. The Vajra demon first entered the tomb passage, and there was no lighting in the tomb passage, and it was pitch black again. However, this tomb passage is not long, and the Vajra demon soon reached the end of the tomb passage. Nothing happened during the whole process. Until the moment he left the tomb passage, overwhelming attacks landed on Vajra demon. The Vajra demon didn't even have time to react, and was instantly killed on the spot. Is there an ambush? Lin Moyu was slightly puzzled. According to the information sent back by Vajra demon before his death, there was someone ambushing at the other end of the tunnel. It's different from what is recorded in the data. Point 0. It says in the information that the second checkpoint is in the second channel. Why did the Vajra demon walk out of the passage without incident, but was ambushed after leaving the passage? Lin Moyu was very puzzled, not knowing what happened. The resurrected are not like skeletons, they can connect their vision at any time, and can only judge by passing back some information. This is also doomed to make judgments that cannot be too precise. Lin Moyu doesn't feel bad for a resurrected person. Immediately, the deputy Protoss entered the passage. Under Lin Moyu's order, he increased his speed to the limit, and almost rushed out of the passage in just a few tens of seconds. Like the Vajra demon, he was not attacked in the tunnel. It wasn't until he rushed out of the passage that overwhelming attacks landed on top of his head. Without any accident, the Lei Shen tribe was killed on the spot. Lin Moyu frowned, and with a move in his heart, the members of the Golden Eagle clan turned into a golden light and shot into the tunnel. The speed of the Golden Eagle tribe was far faster than that of the Vajra demon and the Poison God tribe, and they passed through the passage in less than 20 seconds. Another overwhelming attack fell, but the Golden Eagle tribe was too fast, dodging most of the attacks. But then, the Golden Eagles seemed to hit something and was stopped abruptly. It was another round of intensive attacks, and the members of the Golden Eagle clan followed suit. At the other end of the tunnel, Lin Moyu collected more information. There should be an ambush on the other end. And there are a lot of people. Who the hell? What are they going to do? Why did the second channel lose its function? While thinking, hundreds of skeleton generals appeared around Lin Moyu, surrounding him in the center, and entering the second passage together. The undead flame ignited, and the bones of the skull god reflected brighter light, illuminating the passage. At the same time, a large number of shadows are cast in the passage. Either reflected on the wall, or reflected on the ground. It looks like there are countless people walking. The second channel is different from the first. On the wall of the first passage, there is nothing. On the wall of the second passage, many runes were engraved. Lin Moyu doesn't know these runes, but it doesn't prevent him from appreciating the runes. In his eyes, these runes are like dancing butterflies, containing indescribable beauty. Every rune, every stroke is 3 points into the stone. To be able to carve runes on such a solid black stone, the carver's strength is unmatched by him. Suddenly, the runes lit up. Lin Moyu was taken aback for a moment. This situation exceeded his expectation again. The 3 resurrected people entered successively before, but none of them activated the rune. Why did the rune suddenly activate when it came to? Lin Moyu thought about the situation in the data. The key to pass the second test is willpower. There is no explicit statement in the information, but these 2 words, the key to passing the first level is speed, and the same 2 words. This is the characteristic of the human race. In order to cultivate the human race, the higher-ups of the human race made all the materials of Rentu vague. The original intention is to hope that everyone can explore by themselves and not rely on others. Although in this way, the unnecessary damage will be much greater, and the people who may successfully complete the task and pass the level are all real strong people, and they are also smart strong people. Lin Moyu expressed understanding and helplessness. There is a saying in the Qinglong starfield of the human race, only 8 words, which perfectly interprets the rules set by the high-level human race. Natural selection, survival of the fittest. Lin Moyu talked to himself, chewing on this sentence silently. Although it is a bit cruel, it does contain truth. An inexplicable law emerged in the passage, quickly covering most of the passage, including Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt that he suddenly became powerless. All the laws and all the power were weakening sharply. Panic could not help but emerge in my heart. But in the next second, the trace of panic was erased by Lin Moyu. Illusion. Lin Moyu already understood what was going on, and he didn't panic at all. No wonder the key word considered in the second level is wool, so let me see what kind of illusion it is. A familiar starry sky appeared in front of my eyes, and the stars were burning brightly. Lan Yangxing was not far from him, warming his strength outward. Zhu Qiwu was not around, and he was alone. The strength weakened, the spells disappeared, and the huge heat of Lan Yangxing almost burned himself to ashes. Sweat continued to break out all over the body, and breathing became extremely uncomfortable. At this time, the Abyss Dragon Eagle appeared not far away with a grin. There is no technique, no strength, and no Zhu Qiwu. When he meets the clone of the Abyssal Dragon Demon in front of the blue flame star, he will die. Lin Moyu should have panicked, but no, Lin Moyu just watched the Abyssal Dragon Demon quietly. The Abyssal Dragon Demon roared, and the terrifying breath swept in, blowing on Lin Moyu like a gust of wind, as if to tear him to pieces. Well, let out a long sigh. Lin Moyu has seen through this illusion. There are many kinds of illusions, and most illusions are to find the flaws from the depths of one's heart, find out what one is most afraid of, and expand and exaggerate it. The Emperor is now in front of oneself. Let yourself have fear, affect the soul, and eventually die in the illusion. But since Lin Moyu's debut, there is almost nothing that can scare him. Even in the most dangerous time, he has never been afraid. How dangerous it was to be in the rotting corpse world back then, just a little bit of life was exposed in it. All kinds of emotions have been there, but there is no fear. Lin Moyu, who had seen through the illusion long ago, looked at the Abyssal Dragon Demon not far away, and shook his head slightly. It is estimated that the illusion cannot find a more powerful enemy in his heart, and can only find the second clone of the Abyssal Dragon Demon. With his gaze narrowed slightly, the nine-colored dragon's soul crystal in his soul burst out a dragon chant. In the illusion, the nine-colored dragon's soul crystal turned into a dragon and flew out, devouring the abyssal dragon demon in one bite. The illusion was instantly shattered, and the picture in front of him returned to normal. I am still in the passage, and the runes no longer emit light. Lin Moyu also understood why the resurrected person entered the illusion without activating the rune just now. The resurrected person can be regarded as his own puppet. For a puppet, there is no need to use illusions to test it. Just like the skeleton generals around him, the illusion test has nothing to do with them. Lin Moyu walked forward again, and another rune lit up. The second hallucination was quickly created. A few women appeared in front of them, with enchanting figures, glamorous looks, and too beautiful to behold. Ning Yi, Shu Han, Mo Yun, Mu Xiangshan, Gu Qingxuan, Yu Qingru. In addition, there are quite a few people. As long as the beauties I have seen, almost all of them are examples. They walked towards him one after another, their clothes gradually became revealing, and their eyes became more charming. There is a depraved sound in the ear, which makes people feel itchy and hot all over the body, as if there is a burning desire in the heart. Ellipsis. The first test of illusion is fear, the second is lust. Boring. Anger rose in Lin Moyu's eyes. He loved his 4 wives very much, and now the 4 wives are resting in the sleeping coffin. Mirage actually used them to seduce him, which touched his bottom line. Lin Moyu doesn't plan to continue playing. This level of illusion has no effect on his soul. Nine-colored dragon's soul crystal uttered a dragon chant again, and the illusion was instantly shattered. Lin Moyu strode forward. Soon, the runes flickered, and the third illusion appeared. The picture in front of me has just begun to change. The nine-colored dragon's soul crystal has already issued a dragon chant, and the illusion has not yet been generated and is directly shattered. He doesn't want to play anymore. Enough is enough. The mere illusion was directly broken. The same is true for the fourth illusion, which was destroyed before it appeared. There is light ahead, and the passage is about to come to an end. Lin Moyu's eyes were filled with chills. He wants to see who dares to ambush here. He killed 3 resurrected people in a row. Although they were only resurrected people, they were also his subordinates. As my master, I naturally want to seek justice for my subordinates. The skeleton gods rushed out of the passage first, but the expected attack did not come. Lin Moyu wondered, could it be that the person who ambushed followed him? It wasn't until he walked out of the passage that he realized that a group of bull demons had fallen to the ground in disorder. All of them festered and looked miserable. Lin Moyu thought about it and understood what happened. These guys from the Bull Demon clan killed the Thunder God clan. The Poison God race is full of poison, and the poison in the body is hundreds of times stronger than the poison outside the body. After the death of the Poison God clan, the poison all over the body exploded. The poison is not effective for Lin Moyu, but it is fatal for others. Even if the Poison God race has become a resurrected person, they will be wiped out after death. But his racial characteristics will not change. Before the ashes are wiped out, a wave of poison will also erupt. As a result, the members of the Bull Demon tribe who carried out the sneak attack were poisoned one by one, and they were about to die. Lin Moyu glanced over, and there were about 20 bull demons fell to the ground. Lin Moyu had no intention of saving them. Although the bull demons did not have any great enmity with the human race, they were never friendly. And if he came out first just now, he would definitely be attacked. For the time being, it is not friend or foe. Tick, dot, dot. There was the sound of water. Lin Moyu saw a fountain 100 kilometers away. The fountain that had dried up in the data began to drip again at some point. This is a garden, and it is a strange thing that a garden appears in a tomb. But after experiencing this mysterious manner, Lin Moyu is no longer surprised by it. Vitality is bred in the ultimate death. It seems to be full of vitality, but in fact it is full of lifelessness. Like his law of immortality, the limit of death is life. Tick tick. The fountain continuously sprayed water droplets, flying 10 meters high, and then dripping. One drop after another, not much, but continuous. The fountain has obviously been dry for thousands of years, yet it has water again. It is astonishing that a dry old tree that has been dead for 100 years has regained its vitality. Every drop of spring water spews out a huge and obvious law of death. As the crystals fall and spread out in the spring, the law of death is like a projection, and the projection is extremely clear above the fountain. This place has become an excellent holy place for cultivation. If you want to comprehend the law of death, this is the best place. As long as you are not too stupid, if you spend some time, you will be able to comprehend the law of death. Following the dripping spring water, Lin Moyu saw a group of bull demons in front of the fountain. Hundreds of bull demons 16 face the fountain, either standing, sitting, or lying down, in various postures. They are learning the law of death. Seeing this scene, Lin Moyu probably understood why the demons blocked the passage. Can't help but let out a sneer. Fortunately, they can figure it out, and they can do this kind of thing that provokes public anger. How many lives does the bull demon clan have? Lin Moyu estimated that they should block the door for a short time. Otherwise, it will inevitably spread, and it will definitely arouse public outrage. Whether it is the demons, the human race, or the golden eagle race, they will lead an army to come, and these bull demon races alone cannot stop them. Not far away, Lin Moyu saw a netted magic weapon that fell on the ground. It was this net-shaped magic weapon that caught the resurgent of the Golden Eagle clan just now. Otherwise, with the speed of the Golden Eagle clan, it would be impossible for the Bull Demon clan to kill him instantly. The owner of the net magic weapon is not dead yet. Although it fell to the ground, it still shimmers and can be used at any time. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and hundreds of skeleton gods would gallop out, covering hundreds of kilometers in an instant. The pure white sword aura illuminated the garden, and countless flowers and plants rose up in the sword aura. Many bull demons who are comprehending the law of death have been torn to pieces by the sword energy before they can react. Lin Moyu unhurriedly took out a fixed space bead and activated it. The Ding Kongzhu burst out with bright light, and an invisible force swept out. In an instant, the space was locked, and most of the teleportation equipment could not be used. You are the first grader, and I am the 15th grader. Now that they have become enemies, Lin Moyu has no intention of letting them go. Ding Kongzhu is a double-edged sword, which can hurt the enemy as well as oneself. After locking the space, even if the fixed space bead is released, it will take a little time and space to recover. If you lose, you may be unable to escape. Lin Moyu has encountered a similar situation several times. Some people use the space-fixing beads, but they end up tying themselves up and digging their own graves. The bull demons came to their senses and exited the state of comprehension one after another, roaring and attacking the general. The skeleton god will have the third-tier combat power of a god king, which is the top combat power in this area. Under the sudden attack, dozens of bull demon god kings were killed on the spot. There are also fourth-order god kings in the bull demon clan, and they counterattacked one after another. But before they could make a move, their bodies suddenly exploded. Della spell, corpse explosion. Standing 100 kilometers away, Lin Moyu exploded corpses one after another without haste. With the bonus of talent, the corpse of the second-level god king is enough to blow up the third-level god king. The corpse of the third-order god king is enough to blow up the fourth-order god king. The skeleton god will crazily wield his sword energy, chasing and killing the bull demon race unscrupulously. Lin Moyu continued to perform corpse explosion from behind. In a blink of an eye, hundreds of demons were killed or injured. Until the end, they didn't know who their enemy was. In their eyes, nothing but a skeleton is a skeleton. Lin Moyu stood 100 kilometers away and was not noticed by them. At this time, the bull demons who were knocked down by the poison gods were basically dead. Lin Moyu asked the skeleton god to collect their storage utensils, and he went straight to the edge of the fountain to observe carefully. The information doesn't say anything about the garden, but if I'm not mistaken, when the fountain dries up, the garden should also be dead. It wasn't until the fountain was restored that the garden came back to life. But why did the fountain come back? Lin Moyu saw that there was already a thin layer of black water in the pool. The black water exudes a strong breath of the law of death, and it is very pure water of death. There are many stones in the pool, each of which is a little smaller than a fist, covering a whole layer. The water of death only dipped to about 1/10 of the stone, and the amount was not too much. The whole body of the stone is black, and it also exudes a breath of death. It is the stone needed for the mission. Lin Moyu dipped his hand into the water and hit one of them. Lifting the hand, the stone did not move at all. The difficulty of this task is not high, and the danger of the ancient tomb is moderate, but as long as you don't go deep, there is almost no danger. Regardless of the first two levels, speed or will, in fact, it is not likely to endanger life. In this way, this task is simply too simple. But how could Renwang Network arrange such a simple task, and also give a reward of 5,000 points? If I'm not mistaken, the real difficulty of this task is here. Lin Moyu changed a stone and pulled it out hard, but it still didn't move. Obviously, although there are many stones here, not all of them can be taken away. And looking around, it seems that there is no rule at all. But are there really no rules? If so, it is completely hit and miss. Try one by one until you find which one you can take away. Lin Moyu thinks otherwise. What Renwang Network needs to test is the courage, perseverance, and wisdom of the practitioners, not luck. Of course luck also plays a part, but that is not a test case. Lin Moyu put away his hands. It was obviously inappropriate to try piece by piece. He stood by the pool and began to think. Soon, his eyes became bright, and he had an answer in his heart. This task has completed thousands of 7.97 million people since it was enacted. But the stones here have not decreased. So the stones did not come from the pool. His eyes searched all around, and there were vibrant flowers and plants everywhere. This is a garden, which should have been barren, but now it is full of flowers and plants. And at the roots of the flowers and plants, there are many stones piled up. These stones are not stained with the breath of death, they are off-white, and they are not the stones needed for the mission. But the stone has traces of being taken away. Lin Moyu asked the skeleton god to fetch a piece, and after pondering for a few seconds, he put the stone into the pool. A few seconds later, black lines appeared on the stone. A breath of death began to emerge from the stone. A few minutes later, the whole body of the stone turned black, and Lin Moyu took out the stone at this time. This is the item needed for the mission. Lin Moyu smiled slightly and put the stone away. He turned his gaze to the dark place behind the garden. Next, we should go inside and have a look. This task is not a test of force, but wisdom and observation. To become a real strong man, wisdom and observation are indispensable. I am the task of combat power. In fact, I should not accept this task. It was mainly the ancient tomb that attracted him. He instinctively felt that the ancient tomb had something to do with the mysterious manner, perhaps related to some ancient secrets. In the black hole at that time, the mysterious man was obviously particularly interested in the ancient regiment. Lin Moyu's curiosity was aroused by the fact that even this kind of existence was interested. In the garden, Lin Moyu stopped for a while. The fountain is still spitting out black spring water drop by drop. The black spring water contains the law of death, which is no different from the water of death. Breathing out once in death will make the law of death appear, making this place the best holy place to understand the law of death. Maybe the bull demon just happened to discover this, so he simply blocked the door, trying to occupy this place and prevent other races from entering. It's a pity that I met Lin Moyu and was killed cleanly. The water in the pool is the water of death, which is very valuable. Lin Moyu tried to take it away, but found that he couldn't take it away. The water of death, like the stones in the pool, has become a part of the pool. Lin Moyu was not disappointed. Originally this was not his goal. The task was completed, and after confirming that there was nothing else in the garden, Lin Moyu walked towards the depths. After the garden, there is still a dark passage, the third passage. Through this passage is the depths of the tomb. According to the information, there is no test on this passage, and there is no medical treatment. Some people go to the end and find that there is nothing. Some people disappeared at the end of the passage. The passage was extremely dark, and Lin Moyu was just shrouded in darkness when he suddenly thought of something. He walked back quickly, and after 2 steps, he left the passage to the garden. The garden is as usual, the fountain in the pool is still ticking, there is a drop of water spraying, and the flowers and plants in the garden seem to become more delicate and beautiful. There was a hint of vigilance between Lin Moyu's brows. The body is gone. The body of the bull demon clan was gone, not even a trace was left. The garden ground is neat and clean, no blood, no broken meat, anything that does not belong to the garden is gone, as if it has been carefully cleaned by someone. Lin Moyu thought further and further. During the period when the bull demons were guarding the passage, there must not be too few people who died here. Even if the bodies of those people were collected by the bull demons, there were no bloodstains or traces of battle. This is very abnormal. With the slightly reckless character of the bull demons, it is absolutely impossible to clean up the battlefield so cleanly. Lin Moyu noticed the fountain in the pool. The water was spouting drop by drop, but the frequency seemed to be faster than before. The changes were very subtle, and Lin Moyu's soul was extremely keen, so he still noticed a little bit. He seems to have guessed why the fountain revived. From drying up to rebreathing, it is because enough power has been accumulated. His eyes suddenly opened up, and he suddenly wanted to understand many things. Why does the law of death appear in the breath of death in the tomb? It is not that the law of death is eroding the ancient tombs, but that the ancient tombs are gradually adapting to and absorbing the laws of the great world. If that's the case, it's very likely that what the fountain spewed out wasn't the water of death at all. Lin Moyu reached into the pool and touched the ungraspable stones in the pool, as well as the newly emerging water in the pool. After careful induction, Lin Moyu finally discovered the difference between the two. The black stones in the pool are fundamentally different from the water of death. The stone contains the aura of death, but his aura of death is not the law of death, but closer to the law of immortality, and contains vitality in the deepest part. As for the newly spewed water of death, this vitality has disappeared, and it is the real law of death. Although only a little bit short, the essence of the two is completely different, and the stone is obviously of a higher level. Lin Moyu pondered, what happened in ancient times? The laws of that era seem to be somewhat different from the current laws. My occupation, my law of immortality, seems somewhat similar to the ancient law. All kinds of thoughts flew in, like a huge mystery shrouded Lin Moyu in it. He has thought about this problem before. His own profession is very special. Not only does it not exist in the small world, but also does not exist in the big world. Other people's spells can always find many similar existences. But I am unique. After contacting the mysterious manor, he discovered a relatively close law, which made Lin Moyu full of doubts. He has an urge to go back to the source. Withdrawing his attention from the fountain, he stood up again and stepped into the dark passage. Perhaps, at the end of the passage, some clues can be found. Lin Moyu believes that those god kings will not disappear for no reason. Something must have happened. It might be dangerous, but it's worth the risk. The pitch-black passage was extremely quiet, except for the sound of his own footsteps. There was only the rubbing sound of the skeletons walking. As he went deeper, the darkness quickly deepened and aggravated. Lin Moyu threw out the undead flame, and as soon as the undead flame flew out, a thick black fog enveloped the undead flame, enveloping it. The off-white light cannot see through the thick fog, nor can it illuminate the surroundings. There is only a little bit of light in it, but after a while, even the last bit of light disappears. Only then did Lin Moyu realize that he was already in the thick fog. It was too dark to see if there was a thick fog. He switched to the vision of the undead, and there was nothing around him. Under the vision of the undead, although you still can't see things clearly, if a creature sneaks up on you, then the vision of the undead can discover the soul of the other party. After walking about 10,000 meters, his vision suddenly recovered, and he walked out of the foggy area. In front of him stood a high wall. This is the end point mentioned in the data, the end of the passage. The high wall is made of the same material as the main body of the tomb, an extremely strong material. Lin Moyu didn't try to break the wall, he knew it was impossible. The wall is 1,000 meters high and connects the entire top. Lin Moyu groped on the wall with the skeleton gods for a long time, but found nothing. If there is any mechanism on the wall, it must have been discovered over the years. There is no shortage of smart people in the world. It is impossible to wait for me to discover everything. Lin Moyu's attention was drawn away from the wall, he knew there would be nothing on it. Since there is no wall, how did those god kings disappear? He looked at the dark world behind him, where there was thick fog, and as long as he entered, he couldn't see anything. In the thick fog, one can also feel a strong breath of death. It seems that these dense fogs are composed of the purest death breath. If there is no problem with the wall, then the problem must be in the passage. The passageway is 1,000 meters high and about 200 meters wide. It is a straight line without any bends. That being the case, the problem is either at the top of the tunnel or on the sides. Lin Moyu quickly analyzed the possibility, and with a move in his heart, the skeleton god general had already come out. Lin Moyu summoned 10,000 skeleton generals and divided them into 3 groups. One group went to the top of the channel, and the other 2 groups went to the sides to search. The skeleton gods will move forward densely, not letting go of any corner. Carry out a carpet search in the dark. Watching the skeleton gods disappear into the darkness, Lin Moyu stood by the wall and waited quietly, not in a hurry. Soon, a skeleton god sent back a message. On the left side of the passage, they found an entrance, behind which it was also dark, leading to an unknown place. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth raised, and he was indeed in the passage. Quote, he probably knew the reason why the God Kings disappeared, and 9 times out of 10 they got inside. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry, he waited quietly. Wait for the skeletons to search the entire passage. In the channel, a total of 8 entrances were found. The 8 entrances are hidden in the dark fog, 4 on the left and 4 on the left, opposing each other and very balanced. 9 out of 10 God Kings who disappeared here entered it and never came back. There are still a lot of smart people. Those God Kings should be very smart, at least smarter than ordinary people, and they also have a strong curiosity. Normal people, when they come to the end of the passage and find that they have nothing to gain, they will leave. But smart people don't, they will think about whether there is another entrance in the dark passage. Then they went to look for it, and after a search, it was there, and they went in with excitement, and disappeared from then on. Lin Moyu didn't know if he would disappear like those God Kings. But no matter what, he must go and see. Not for anything else, just those ancient secrets, which deeply attracted him. When he was in the mysterious manor, he once saw someone summon the Great World Rune to fight against the owner of the manor. The Great World Rune is almost collapsed at this moment. Although it is not sure whether it was done by the manor owner entered the sleeping coffin, and now the sleeping coffin is still in his hands. The message 917 left by the owner of the manor and the power system displayed seem to be inextricably linked with him. Under the combination of various reasons, Lin Moyu chose one of the entrances out of curiosity, and entered the court. The space is distorted, and colorful colors appear before the eyes. Lin Moyu felt like he had experienced a teleportation. After a while, both feet stepped on the ground again, the scene in front of them quickly solidified, and the transmission ended. A gray-white fireball hangs above the sky, bringing some light to the world. Under the reflection of the fireball, the whole world appears gray and white. A lot of floating dust visible to the naked eye floated melodiously in the air. The floating dust kept rising, and then slowly fell. It seems that there is a hand that keeps throwing up the dust and making them dance in the air. There is a breeze blowing, colliding with the floating dust, and found a weak sound. The whole world reveals a touch of sadness and desolation. An inexplicable situation came to Lin Moyu's mind, and Lin Moyu thought of a festival in the previous life. Every spring and April, people will go to the mountains to pay homage to their ancestors. At that time, it often rains, incense candles are lit on the mountain, and occasionally people cry in sorrow. Looking ahead, there is a forest in front of you. There is a trail in the forest, the trail winds to the distance, connecting the distant mountains. With BGAE, vigilance, Lin Moyu followed the path into the woods. The woods are not dense, but sparse, just blocking the line of sight. After walking about 100 meters, the woods came to an end, and what appeared in front of them were coffins. The inner and outer coffins are neatly arranged, all of the same size and shape, and there are countless coffins at a glance. For a moment, the atmosphere of sadness became more intense, and the breath of death rushed over. The floating dust in the air became more intense. This is a cemetery. Lin Moyu paused, his heart beating slightly. He didn't feel any danger, just felt a little weird. Inside the ancient tomb, there is actually a cemetery. He recalled the structure of ancient tombs. After entering the first passage, there is a circular hall. There are several rooms in the hall, and there are coffins in each room, and there are a lot of funerary objects, which shows that the people buried inside are of extraordinary status and should be relatives of the owner of the tomb. This is followed by a second passage, and after the passage is the garden with the fountain. Building a garden in a tomb is a very strange thing, and it is something Lin Moyu can't understand. Then there is the third energy path. There are 8 entrances in the third passage. After he chose an entrance at random, he came here. Gradually, a clear structure diagram is formed in the mind. Lin Moyu guessed that there should be more than one cemetery like this one. 8 entrances lead to a cemetery respectively. If combined with what he saw in the mysterious manner before, Lin Moyu suddenly had a guess in his heart. If the owner of the ancient tomb was a general, then the person buried in the coffin in the cemetery might be a soldier. The 8 cemeteries are like tents, guarding the central forest. Lin Moyu stood in front of the cemetery for a long time without stepping in. The cemetery revealed a faint atmosphere, which made Lin Moyu feel unusual. He knew that as long as he stepped into it, some unpredictable things would inevitably happen. He looked far away, looked at the distant mountains and forests, thoughtfully. If I'm not mistaken, that mountain forest is the real burial place. Lin Moyu walked slowly along the periphery of the Monopoly Cemetery, his feet landed on the soft ground, and he made footprints on the soil one by one. While walking, Lin Moyu continued to watch the cemetery, observing the situation in the cemetery. The cemetery was very quiet. It looked like there was nothing but the coffins, and countless coffins were neatly arranged. But Lin Moyu gradually saw some changes. Although the cemetery does not have high fences and high walls, the breath emanating from it forms an invisible barrier. A line apart, because the outside world will be completely different. Lin Moyu could clearly feel the existence of the barrier, and did not step into it easily. The shape of the barrier is not a straight line, but a radian, which is fan-shaped. This further made Lin Moyu conclude his guess that there are more than one cemetery, and the cemetery in front of him is just one of them. The 8 gates in the third passage lead to 8 cemeteries respectively. 8 cemeteries guard the middle mountain. After walking for half a day, the cemetery finally reached the end, and a trail leading to the mountain appeared in sight. The path is not spacious, less than 30 meters, covered with gravel. Each piece of gravel is that solid black material that looks like leftover scraps from the construction of a tomb to pave the way. But in fact, this is not the case. The edges of these gravels are rounded, obviously polished by the room. In Lin Moyu's view, polishing these gravels is time-consuming and laborious, which is more troublesome than building a tomb. On the other side of the gravel path, there is another cemetery. There are still countless coffins, no different from the cemetery beside him. This situation fully confirms Lin Moyu's guess that the 8 entrances in the third passage lead to 8 cemeteries respectively. The 8 cemeteries are all fan-shaped, and there are gravel paths between the cemeteries. A map was formed in my mind. This is a cemetery of incomparably huge scale, and there are at least 1 million coffins in the cemetery. Come to the edge of the gravel path, look along the path to the high mountains in the distance, and you can see that the path leads directly to the mountain. Lin Moyu didn't want to go into the cemetery, so he could follow the trail to the mountain. Just as he raised his foot and was about to step forward, Lin Moyu decisively took his foot back. In the gravel path, there is also the same atmosphere as the cemetery. These strands of breath connect the cemetery trails together. Although the cemetery is divided into 8, it is still a whole, and the whole body can be affected by one move. The trail seems to lead to the central mountain, but in fact, there is no difference between entering the trail and entering the cemetery. With a heartbeat, 3 skeleton god warriors came out in response. When everything is unknown, it is the best choice to let the skeleton explore the way. The crackling sound of bones rubbing against each other broke the tranquility of the cemetery. A skeleton god warrior ran into the path with a clicking sound, while the other ran towards the cemetery beside him. The last skeleton god warrior was about to cross the gravel path and run towards the cemetery on the opposite side of the path. At this moment, Lin Moyu seemed to have noticed something. His pupils shrank suddenly, and he saw a figure. In the cemetery on the opposite side of the gravel path, a figure suddenly appeared. Lin Moyu can be sure that the other party appeared suddenly. If it existed before, it would definitely not be able to hide it from myself. He was always paying attention to the situation in the cemetery, and no movement could escape his eyes. In the cemetery, which is dominated by pale, there are black figures, which are very conspicuous. When the figure appeared, Lin Moyu's heart trembled. He lost contact with the 3 skeleton god warriors. Lin Moyu was slightly startled. At any time, his skeleton would never disconnect from him. No matter how far away, I can sense the existence of the other party. Even if sometimes in a different space, unable to establish a connection, unable to command, but I can still sense the existence of the skeleton. But at this moment, he completely severed the connection with the skeleton. Died? No, even if he was killed in seconds, it's not the case. It is easiest to verify that the skeleton is still alive. Lin Moyu tries to summon new skull god warriors. The summoning failed, and the quota for the skeleton god warrior was not vacant. It shows that these 3 skeleton god warriors are still alive and have not died. That's the real disconnect. A sense of vigilance rose in Lin Moyu's heart, and he realized that it was possible to lose contact with the skeleton. His gaze became extremely serious. If this is the case, if you encounter an enemy who can lose contact with your skeleton in the future, the combat power of your undead army will be greatly reduced. The undead army occupies at least half of his strength, if it is targeted by the enemy. Lin Moyu thought deeply and far, and as his strength became stronger, he became more and more aware of it. The battle between the strong cannot be missed by a single star. As long as there is a little negligence and a slight weakness is caught, the end may be death. It seems that no matter what, we have to go in. Curious about ancient secrets, Lin Moyu really wants to go in and find out. But it is not necessary to go. If it is really dangerous, he will give up decisively. But now, he had to go. He felt uneasy if he didn't know the reason why the skeleton lost contact. Lin Moyu focused on the figure that had just appeared. Just for a while, the number of figures increased, and several more appeared. Not only did a figure appear in the cemetery opposite the gravel path, but also a black figure appeared in the cemetery beside him. The black figure is somewhat illusory, only the human form can be distinguished, but the appearance cannot be seen clearly. They ignored Lin Moyu and just went about their business. Lin Moyu watched them, and after a moment, he saw what they were doing. They are clearing the cemetery. Some people are wiping the coffin, while others are cleaning the ground in the cemetery. There was white floating dust in the cemetery, as well as fallen leaves from the woods not far away, all of which were cleaned up by them. But the floating dust and the fallen leaves are not stopping. This kind of cleaning is endless. The black shadows did not talk to each other, and they had a clear division of labor. They looked very dull, but they were meticulous and serious in cleaning. The black shadow is a phantom, and it seems to be wearing uniform work clothes, but the internal shape is still somewhat different, and the difference is very different. Lin Moyu pondered for a while, and his heart skipped a beat. He finally knew the identities of these cleaners. They are the missing kings of gods, and the kings of gods of all races have turned into cleaners of the cemetery here. Lin Moyu couldn't help wondering if he would become like these people and become a cemetery cleaner after he went in. In an instant, he had the urge to turn around and leave, not even wanting a skeleton warrior trapped in it. But in the next second, Lin Moyu still stopped. He couldn't just walk away. Whether it was for himself or for the skeleton, the cemetery must be entered. And he has confidence in himself. He is not comparable to ordinary god kings. With all his efforts, he could unleash a combat power comparable to that of a god, so that he would not be powerless. Taking a deep breath, Lin Moyu stepped into the cemetery beside him. He is one step away from the cemetery, stepping out, as if entering another world. The mysterious aura in the cemetery spontaneously enveloped him, wrapping him up in an instant. Lin Moyu turned his gaze and found that he was already in the cemetery. Not at the edge of the cemetery, but directly inside the cemetery. There are densely packed coffins all around, and there is a small passage between the coffins and the coffins for one person to pass through. The high mountains in the distance still exist, and through the high mountains, you can locate the direction you came in. But Lin Moyu didn't move easily, but stood still, motionless. It is not safe to act rashly when the situation is unknown. The three skeleton god warriors who had lost contact before regained contact at this time. With a heartbeat, the three skeletons quickly approached Lin Moyu, and soon three skeletons appeared in sight. The three skeletons were not far away from him. Whether he entered the gravel path or wanted to go to the cemetery behind the path, he had no success. The three of them are actually in the same cemetery. Lin Moyu breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that both the cemetery and the gravel path are actually a whole. The skeleton can move freely inside, but it has completely lost contact with the outside world. It's like a world of its own here. Unlike the relationship between the small world and the big world, although the small world is independent, it still depends on the big world. But the cemetery in front of him is like a real small world with its own rules. Thinking of this, Lin Moyu tried to mobilize his own power, and found that the power of the flesh and the law still existed. It looked like the power was intact, but Lin Moyu wasn't happy. The feeling given to him here is exactly the same as the feeling given to him by the mysterious manner. Although the law still exists, its function has been greatly weakened, and there is little difference between having and not having it. Perhaps the level and realm will also be restricted, but he is the seventh level of the true God, weak enough, so he doesn't feel it. The ability to fight across borders is always his advantage. Seeing three skeletons in his eyes, Lin Moyu didn't let them go. Instead, he released more skeletons, thousands of them flying in all directions. The skeletons kept sending back messages. Although the messages were all the same, Lin Moyu found something wrong. All the skeletons saw were coffins, endless coffins. Occasionally, I would encounter black shadows, who turned a blind eye to the skeletons and continued to do their own thing. Lin Moyu finally saw the real situation of these shadows clearly. Sombra is indeed the king of gods of various races, including demons, golden eagles, bull demons, humans and so on. Without exception, these god kings have lost the bodies, and what is left is only their souls. The soul flame is very strong, and the soul is still intact, but very dull, without any wisdom. Around them, there was a mysterious force that controlled the shadows and drove them to do cleaning work. Lin Moyu felt vigilant in his heart. As time goes by, the skeletons run farther and farther away, and the range they see is rapidly expanding. Suddenly, several skeletons came towards them. Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback. All the skeletons scattered in different directions. How could they come head-on? There is only one possibility: they have already circled the entire cemetery. The cemetery has no boundaries, no gravel paths, and no way to find the way he came in. The cemetery is big, but not this big. Lin Moyu realized that he was trapped inside.